Hey everybody, Paul Fontaine, Jeff Hawkins here on the Dynamite Show on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. Also, hi to those watching on X and to those listening tomorrow morning, Thursday morning on the Fight Game Media free audio feed. I want to thank you all for supporting our site, putting up with those commercials and whatnot. And for those joining us live, as you always do, adding to the conversation here. So I noticed some people already in the chat. That's awesome to see. Jeff,
Yes.
normally we start out with some news items. The only thing you mentioned, and we'll talk about it briefly, was Tony Khan licensed November Rain to use in promo packages for Full Gear. Apparently, I didn't hear anything tonight. I guess he's holding it off.
Everybody's an ECW nostalgia federation.
No, but I mean, everybody knows November Rain. Come on.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
it was especially used by Paulie Dangerously to promote November to Remember, which oh, look at that branding on AEW.
Yeah, I mean, they could put November into the title, like why don't you just find a song called Full Gear and license that? But no, I love, and that song works really well for videos promoting matches, although these matches that they have for this, I'm not sure what you would actually put to that unless you're just going to do a bunch of high spots, but
I don't mind music video packages though.
No,
I've because Brian and Vinny are watching old Mid-South. I'm watching copies of Mid-South that I have that are not network.
You can get them on YouTube too, by the way.
Yeah, that still have the. I mean, Bill Watts loved just using music without attribution and doing music videos for his people, and they're always, they're cheese, but they're good, the good kind of cheese. They're just infomercials. They're 3-minute little infomercial things. They worked for the Rock and Roll Express. They worked for Terry Taylor.
When I first started watching UWF, it had already, like, I didn't get to see Mid-South, but there's ones I remember because they aired them every week. You had the We Are the Champions for when Steve Williams won the title and body slam Big Bubba. When I hear the song, I can picture him doing the body slam.
Let's hear it for the boy for Terry Taylor, I think.
Sharp Dressed Man for the Freebirds, right? And then they also had
the Fantastic.
Fabulous Ones for Fantastics, Fantastic. And then the Freebirds had their own song, obviously, and then Hot Stuff for Eddie Gilbert.
Yes.
And I like when I hear it and I see, like, I can just see it in my head. So it's awesome.
And it helps connect people to the product. So I mean, I have no problem with this move.
No.
I mean, it's a good spending of money. I think it's one of those things where they're only going to play it once because it costs so much.
Yeah, I mean, they already, they stopped doing the Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting on Collision, which sucks, but hey, you got to save money. So, but yeah, so we can look forward to that. Tony said probably on the weekend, so it would have been nice to see it tonight. But so we talked on DMs before the show and a little bit before we started recording, and we're not going to spend much time on news because I'm fixing a rant about this show.
Okay, this show is going to how am I going to put this? If you don't like critical takes on AEW, this may not be the show for you. I know that our guy Larry Sternshine was in the chat and he was really liking the show quite a lot, and it spoke to what he likes, which is I think just in-match cromulence.
Okay, so I don't like. I have to go back and read that chat because, like, I know that sometimes they have good wrestling, but the angles don't make sense. Sometimes they have the wrestling sucks, but they have great angles. I don't know what the hell he liked on the show, other than like the last two matches were really good. Like, so if that's if that's all you watched, if you only watched Leo versus Swerve in the main event, you probably thought it was a good show.
Okay, let's do a log line of your complaint about the show and then my complaint about the show.
Before I complain, let's start with some sweet.
Okay.
It was very clear that the message of this show it was not about the show you were watching. It was about Full Gear. Yeah. Everything on the show was about promoting Full Gear, which is in 10 days, November 23rd. And they mentioned the location. I think it's Newark. They plugged that show something fierce. And I had no complaints about that. That's their job.
They actually did a very good job. They did a good job of advertising a lot, especially like the taping tomorrow in Albany. They put on a commercial for it. Thank God.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And for tapings in future weeks,
they've got a loaded up lineup. Well, they've got a lineup for Collision, which they never have. And they announced, I think it's 4 or 5 matches for Collision. they promoting the Continental Classic starting in 2 weeks, and also Jericho and Ishii, which they started the build for last week. So we're going to get 3 weeks of builds for that. Hey, hands up for that. So their promotion tonight was really good. If that's what you wanted out of your show tonight, maybe that's why Larry liked it.
No, that's not why Larry liked it. But
no, but
continue.
It can't be the matches. It can't be the angles. Like I don't know what the hell it was. Like
okay,
God.
here is my complaint.
Okay.
And it was I mean there were a couple of exceptions to this rule.
Okay.
Yes, we have these matches and we had the build for Full Gear. There's absolutely no emotional connection between the performers and the material on this show. They're doing it. They're saying their lines. They're doing the matches. The matches don't really achieve any sort of emotional wavelength of any kind. They have a work rate wavelength where it's like, okay, here's the hot tag. The energy will be up a little and then we'll get to the thing. But the performers themselves are just they're doing their match. Nobody's really happy. Nobody's sad. Nobody's angry. With except Moxley came out with an angry promo, which was nice, and Harley Cameron came out with some energy in her promo, which was nice.
Oh,
but like, I mean, we'll get to it when we get to the Ospreay and Fletcher thing. That was a negotiation of exposition, is what that was.
Yeah.
And it's like I just kind of wanted someone to feel. I mean, I hate to steal from Lance Storm, who may be the most emotionless man ever in wrestling in some ways, but
yes and no.
No, but his criticisms are always valid, I think, in terms of when he always quotes Les Thatcher using the ride on his show over on F4W, make people feel what you feel inside, and there's no. You're gonna get a little bit of acting teaching, Jeff. So if you don't like that, this may not be the show for you, and I get that too. But yeah, we'll get into that when we get to that segment.
So when I was putting the lineup for this show together, for this show, I was staring at this super long thing with I think they had 12 segments for this show, and I'm looking at one right now, and I think there's some stuff missing here. They've got this graphic with Moxie's at the Superstation, FTR versus House of Black, Full Gear 4-way qualifying match. Konosuke Takeshita versus Adam Cole.
Yes.
Jay White and Juice Robinson against Hangman Adam Page and Christian Cage in a grudge match. We'll hear from Bobby Lashley. We'll hear from Jamie Hayter. We'll hear from Will Ospreay. Leo Rush versus Swerve Strickland. Lance Archer versus Roderick Strong. Britt Baker versus Penelope Ford. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. But I'm looking at this lineup and I'm like, what on this lineup do I care about?
Yes.
Like as a fan, what have they set up? What have they given me reason to care about any of this?
Where are there stakes involved?
There's stakes involved in one match. FTR versus House of Black. Winner gets into the pay-per-view.
Well, I mean, there's some with the Cole and Roddy thing, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true. So you had that too. So then you had 3 matches with stakes. But do I care about Adam Cole and Takeshita? Do I care about Roddy Strong and Lance Archer? I should. I mean, they did an angle to set that up last week.
No, there's no personal animosity between either of those crews, so it doesn't matter.
Not really. I mean, I don't.
They're just doing matches to see who's the best, quote unquote.
Yeah, and then the booking.
Yeah, the booking. Yeah, I mean, you can cut promos or something in here to make it matter.
And I have a feeling we're still getting that 3-way, even though that's not the finish.
I do too.
Yeah. So so we had all that, and I mean, like I said, the show kicks off, and the match, it's a cold open, and it's Christian Cage of the Patriarchy,
yes,
teaming with Hangman, not teaming with Kip Sabian, not teaming with Nick Wayne, who are in his group. He's teaming with Hangman for some reason, and they're wrestling Jay White and Juice Robinson. Okay, they're stablemates. That makes sense. They said that, but they didn't tell us why these guys are wrestling. I have no idea. I didn't watch Rampage.
Aren't these the 2 that Jay White wanted revenge on, and we're supposed to remember that from the promo?
Right. Yeah, sure. So they should have told us.
I agree.
There may be a person or two who didn't watch that episode of Dynamite or has forgotten about it because they watched 15 hours a week of wrestling.
Yes.
And yeah, so you're watching this
or just 2 hours a week, and that was 3 weeks ago that he mentioned this.
Yes. And they have that time while people are doing their entrances. that they can air a video package. They can have the announcer explain it to you. They can say, hey, you know what? Jay White asked for this match because he wants to get his hands on both Christian and Hangman. So he asked for this match. Christopher Daniels signed it, and here we are. We're having this match. But no, they just having a match. So the crowd's dead. And I'm like, oh, and by the way, 2,727 people here in Bridgeport, Connecticut, not Stanford, as we'll get to. And it was down from 3,161 last year at this time for Dynamite. So they're down about 15% from last year. Apples to apples, it was the same week. I've noticed they do the same cities in the same weeks every year. So it's weird. Like, I guess there's a reason. They probably got some stats that tells them. Curry had asked, is it me or is AEW losing his lackluster?
It's luster, I think is what he meant. But yes.
Whatever. No, AEW is lackluster because it's lost its luster.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about that tonight, John. Don't worry. So this crowd, they're watching this match, they're dead because they, like me, have no idea why this match is happening. I don't even think most people have figured out Jay White's a babyface yet. And they still kind of like Hangman. They definitely know Christian's a heel. You've got Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne out there. Hook shows up and chokes out Nick Wayne and carries him to the back.
It's a grudge match that's being worked like a normal match.
Yes. Oh, and the psychology for this match is completely ass backwards because they spent 7 minutes. I timed it. 7 minutes of the two baby faces getting the heat on Hangman while he was trying to make a tag to Christian. So you had the baby faces cutting off the ring and working over a body part. They're working over Hangman's knee. So eventually they get to where they're going to do the finish. And Hangman reverses a DDT into a Deadeye. And at that point, when her team is on the advantage, Mother Wayne jumps up onto the ring apron, and then Juice Robinson rolled up Hangman. So at that point, but keep in mind she was up there before Juice had the advantage, but the referee got distracted in anticipation of Juice getting the advantage, and then he had a visual pin, didn't get it. Kip hits Juice Robinson with with Christian's contract. Hangman hits the Deadeye and pin Juice. This match was cromulent. It was there. And these guys are capable of so much more.
Again, no emotional connection. It was a grudge match that didn't feel like a grudge was being in there. It was to get the spot, the spot of Hook walking out from the audience to get Nick Wayne out of there, which, okay, great. Whoopty crap.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared. And look, this crowd of 2,700 sounded a lot like a crowd of 300 for most of the night.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know if all 2,700 people showed up.
What was Hangman? I mean, I saw Hangman angry after the match, a little bit after at Christian, even though they won. But where was crazy? What was Adam Cole feeling this whole? I mean, not Adam Cole, Adam Page feeling this.
Jay White was inviting Shayna to come in the ring and make out or something. Like,
yes,
set up a chair, invited her in the ring. She declined.
Yes, we did the moves. This thing did the moves. It was a television paint by numbers kind of match, and it came off exactly like that, and the crowd responded in kind. I didn't,
This was a match that you would have had with, like, if it was Christian and Hangman against like two jobbers, and I'm not saying they wrestled it like that, but I mean, for all the consequences it had, you might as well have just had two jobbers in there and then just done whatever you're going to do with Jay White and Christian after the match.
Like, because this would have even been served like in the old days of Collision with just the 15 to 20 second promo before the Saturday night's All Right for Fire. Christian and Adam Page together, cutting a promo. We're teaming together and putting together any little things aside so that we can kick your ass tonight. Blah 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 blah. It was just it was a wrestling simulator special. Were
you more or less excited to see Hangman Page and Jay White after this match than you were before?
I didn't care.
Okay, you didn't care before. You don't care now.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just to answer your question, it was exactly. There wasn't any chomping at the bit by Jay White to get at Adam Page.
No. That would have been the thing. You should have had, like, Hangman not wanting to get in the ring with Jay. That should have been the story of this match.
No, not just that, but Jay White should have been almost getting DQ'd this entire time, just trying to get his hands on Hangman. The guy.
Yeah. And so we got what we got. So they promote. They're promoting full gear. Hangman and Jay White at Full Gear. Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. They advertise that later on tonight, Jon Moxley is going to seize the Superstation.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a cute way of saying, Moxley will appear, but they're basically advertising a coup. Swerve versus Bobby Lashley at Full Gear.
I wanted him to take over the Superstation. I wanted a little bit.
Remember
of
when Christian took over the broadcast and he actually took it over?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought we were getting something like that, but actually, I knew we weren't getting anything like that. But
by the way, Paul.
Yeah.
Anybody nervous about Moxley showing up to the arena tonight?
No.
For his cleansing, great cleansing of AEW?
No.
Exactly.
And by the way, remember at the beginning when I read off all those things that were coming up on Dynamite tonight? Did I mention JD Drake's name anywhere?
No.
Okay.
But he was apparently scheduled to wrestle on the show.
I don't know. don't know where or when, but
still, it's like we have this kill crazy madman who's trying to put us out of a career because we're all soft and everybody's just kind of hanging out doing just a normal work day. The hell with it.
Oh, I have a question for you, but I'm going to save it till the Moxley segment.
Okay.
All right. So when they talked about Swerve and Lashley at Full Gear, they mentioned that Swerve and Leo is coming up tonight, and we're also going to hear from Bobby Lashley. Hey, that's great. Private Party versus the Outrunners versus two other teams that'll be in qualifying matches. So yeah, I guess the Outrunners won their qualifying match. Yes. And FTR and the House of Black, which is the Kings of the Black Throne, Brody King and Malachi Black, are in the main event tonight. And then also Mercedes and Chris Statlander will be facing each other at Full Gear, which led to if you thought the opening match was good, then this is where the show fell apart. This was just the rest of the show. Remarkable Renee was outside Mercedes' locker room. She shows up with Camille. She's verbally berating Camille. She tells Renee, "Don't ask me a question before you know what's up. Bridgeport, please say hello to your CEO." And Renee says, "You attempted to run over Chris Statlander with a car," and Mercedes is aghast. It's not my fault that Camille can't drive. And then Camille drops her jacket. She berates her for doing that. And she says she's stressed out by Chris Statlander. She put Statlander in a statement maker on Collision, and they show Statlander watching in the background. And then Mercedes calls Camille for help. Statlander just pushes her aside like she's, a bag of garbage. And then she spears Mercedes and Camille through a wall. Excalibur's laughing about this. This is bad.
Yeah. Let me get to a few other criticisms we haven't gotten to on Mercedes.
Okay.
Mercedes now has the contractually obligated rock spot. And we talked about this a little last week with problem with other acts. The heel who has to get the babyface pop before going into their heeldom stuff. This is the final. This is the finally The Rock has come back to blah 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 with Kevin Kelly in the back when he was still The Rock, when he was still the great. Yeah, well, your CEO, that kind of thing. And then she goes into her heel act, which is a problem because she should just be a heel the entire time. I liked the timing, at least, of the Chris and Camille spot, even if I found the drywall spot a little contrived.
So when you're talking about the timing, you mean her in the background?
When she came out of the door, that was very well timed.
Yeah, that was good.
That said, I don't understand. I don't know how they feel about one another, and it's just one of those things where we're just doing a pro wrestling feud right now. I wanted to kind of hear Chris Statlander talk about her almost being murdered last week.
Except she wasn't.
By a car.
She beat the shit out of both of them.
She did, but she was almost hit by a car. That would still be kind of...
Remember when Statlander got... Or no, it was Camille got her hand slammed into the door?
Yeah, her hand's better.
Yeah, she doesn't even have a cast.
I thought we were going with the Bob Orton thing, but I guess we're not. Well, I guess she put some ice on it. She turned
these two are going to split up, but it's going to take a while because Mercedes is just going to berate her for months, and then Statlander, or then Camille's going to turn on her.
And then by the time they break up, nobody's going to care.
Nobody cares
because we're going to do it for 3 months.
Yeah, nobody cares.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I just assumed like when she told her to take off like a couple weeks ago that we weren't going to see her for a while, but
it's a character choice for Mercedes, and it's a good character choice for Mercedes, but there has to be more to this. There just does.
That was aggravated assault. Yes, it was, John. But so was spearing Camille and Mercedes through a wall.
Vehicular homicide?
Yeah.
Or attempted vehicular homicide?
Tony Schiavone brought Will Ospreay into the ring. He botched Takeshita's name. I couldn't even begin to say what he said. It was Takeshita or something.
No. He mixed up the K and the T, so it was like
Kanote Tasheka or something. Yeah, it was whatever he said. I rewound it 3 times.
He looked like he wasn't happy tonight either. I don't know what was going on with him.
There was something going on tonight. It's probably the election. He asked about Kyle Fletcher. And he says, Will says, there's questions that I need answers for. The crowd sang his song. Ospreay said, I missed you guys too. Calls out Fletcher. So out comes Kyle Fletcher. Says, Don and the family begged me not to come up on myself. Had to prove to you I'm not a coward. Weeks ago, I called you, and you'd rather sit at home and lick your wounds instead of showing up for these people. You know that the family's never far behind me. So he told him that the family was going to attack him right here. Lay a finger on me, and we'll send you home a lot longer than 3 weeks. What would you like me to talk about, huh? So he's stealing Cody's catchphrase, and there's more of that to come. And then Will says, hang on a minute. I've been in those family meetings. You ain't coming alone. Yeah, he's brilliant. Kyle told you this already. You got something in your back pocket. And then and he says, whatever it is, get it out here because I just want to talk. So Kyle like shrugs his shoulders, pulls a screwdriver out from his back pocket, tosses it to Will. Will throws it to the outside, and it sticks up into the pretty black mats on the outside. So that was cool. He says, I'm looking at someone I used to call my brother, and I feel hatred and anger. This guy lived in my house, working in a warehouse, going stir crazy. I let you join the United Empire. I even opened the door here in AEW for you. And this is the thing that annoys me. You know everything about me. You know where I go to the gym. You know where I live. You've come to my son's school. Crowd actually gasped at that one. And it frightens my missus, and it frightens me. And then Kyle says, surprise, surprise. Will Ospreay wants to take credit for someone else's success. Don opened my eyes to the truth. Yes, you did all that for me. You gave me a place to sleep. You fed me. But why were you doing that for, Will? You were doing it for yourself. Everything you do is about Will Ospreay. You wanted to mold me into a Will Ospreay clone. Make sure I succeeded, but never as much as you. You're selfish and you're a hypocrite. I only did exactly what you would do in my situation. Look at what you did to Omega, to Okada. You'd have done the same thing to me. And then he says, give it up. Last time I saw you, I was sitting on my couch with my little boy. You said you were nothing like me, and now you're saying you are like me. Pick a lane. Are you nothing like me, or are you an Ospreay clone? Yeah, I stabbed Okada in the back, and yeah, I stabbed Kenny Omega. He didn't say in the back. He just outright says he stabbed him. Hell of a babyface. Brings up all the titles and the continents that he won gold on. He says, tell me what you've done. And not with Aussie Open, not you and Mark Davis. What have you done? This is the best part of his part of the promo. He says, I'll tell you what you've done. You've done shot all, lad. And then Kyle says, you know what I've done, Will, in the past? How about what I'm going to do? I'm going to surpass you in every accomplishment you've ever had and ever will. And I want to prove it at Full Gear, November 23rd, live on pay-per-view. I want Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. Will says, there it is. That's what this is all about. He wants his 5 minutes of fame. He wants an AEW pay-per-view singles match. Good Lord. Around these parts, I'm called Mr. Pay-per-view. Since I've been here, apparently, there's been 4 world champions, and they can't match a single thing that I do on pay-per-view. What, lose? Challenge accepted, lad. Let me tell you why this is so sweet. You have no idea the damage you caused by the Tiger Driver. I had no feeling in my left hand. My little boy was holding my hand, and I couldn't feel it for 5 minutes. You took that away from me and from him. Allow me to put this carrot in front of you. I'm going to be the mother lover to take it away from you. I think it was like edited in like one of those like TBS edits. I don't know.
No, he said mother lover.
He said mother lover. Kyle says, you think that Tiger Driver was bad? You think the screwdriver in the back of your head was bad? At Full Gear, I'm not coming for a piece, Will. I'm coming for everything. Let's find out what condition you show up in. So before I get to the aftermath, I'll let you talk about this promo, but I will say everything I said about Kyle Fletcher a couple weeks ago when I said I believed everything he said, I felt it didn't sound like he was reading from a script. This
was the opposite this week.
Yeah, I mean his delivery, like the promo was fine. It was good for a scripted promo, but I didn't feel it the way
Fletcher picked confidently aloof.
Yeah,
which is a bad thing when you're doing a connection with when you're doing something where you're supposed to be emotionally connected to the material. Ospreay, on the other hand, is telling you all these things, but he's not showing you anything.
And the fans lost interest.
I'm very angry at you right now.
Yeah.
Okay, great. My little boy couldn't hold my hand. There's no. Imagine if Will were emotionally conflicted about going against his friend and about his friend trying to kill him in the ring and cripple him in the ring. Imagine if these words had any effect on either of these people instead of just waiting to talk and say their lines. Mm-hmm. It was a promo with a lot of exposition. Again, they were basically negotiating, and all somebody needed to do was be affected by something the other guy said, and we could have had a nice little emotional moment here. Or even, I mean, if you're friends for this long and you end up hating each other, there's still that love underneath it in a way. It's just, it's coming out in the wrong way, and you can actually deal with that in a scene if you want to, but they didn't here. This is just talking to get to the point of I want a match.
If they hate each other so much, why'd they stand there across the ring from each other for 10 minutes talking?
It's all go no show. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's like, I want to know, like, I really want to feel like Fletcher is being eaten up inside by the fact that people compare him to Will Ospreay, where he's just desperate for this match to get you out of my story and to get my own story, kind of a thing. And that's what Don Callis and bring it back to why he joined the Don Callis family. This is what Don Callis is. No, Curryhead, you're wrong. It didn't just lack pure raw emotion. It lacked any emotion. It was a reciting of lines back to one another. And then, and here's the match. Boom. There's the graphic. And then we're out.
And I think these guys are both capable of doing a promo like you want them to.
They need to be produced a little bit harder, as opposed to, here's what you're going to say, now go out there and say it. Okay, how are we going to do this?
This one could have been 2 separate pre-tapes.
Yes, or one pre-tape.
Like we can't even have these guys in the same building because they hate each other so much.
We could have done one of those pre-tape sit-downs where it's like, okay, let's go over what we're going to do here. Yeah. Let's tape it. Let's get it right. Let's get people excited about. But this is also one of the drawbacks, and I've been saying this about AEW for years. Doing things in an arena crowd for a live crowd puts the pressure on them to entertain the live crowd. And they are scared to death of taping something and showing it to them because they think people will check out or they'll go to the concession stand at that time. So we need to have this in the ring. And this just,
now they're checking out of these too. You can hear it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, why should they care? Oh, we're getting a good match. Oh, great. But
no, New Jersey's getting a good match. We're getting 2 guys talking.
Yeah, we're getting 2 guys talking, but at the same time, we're getting 2 guys who don't really, I mean, I don't believe that they hate each other.
No.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's it's part of this business. And that's what drives me nuts about the people who tell me that it's all, it's all about handshakes and respect and stuff like that. No.
If you want to go back even further, not only do we not believe, we weren't even all that invested in their friendship. They talked about it.
Yes.
We never they weren't together for that long.
In friendship was a plot point rather than an actual truth that we saw on screen.
Right. If you watch New Japan, if you watch the social media, if you did all that, those people know that these guys are friends. But the first time we ever saw that Kyle Fletcher cared about Will Ospreay, I remember that one time, it was when Kyle Fletcher made a save. I think MJF had attacked Will Ospreay. It was before their match in London. And Kyle Fletcher made the save. And I was like, whoa, he's a heel. What's going on? And they explained then, these guys are friends from way back and blah, blah, blah. But that's it. And then we didn't see anything for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, they're friends again. And now and now Cal's family turns on him. Like,
no,
it
and
was weird.
they also kept on mixing up the whole thing with the Tiger Driver and will he or won't he and the screw and Kyle can't use the screwdriver now. And it's just like it's they're hitting
now we
plot
have
points.
to come up with something more dangerous than the
Yes.
Tiger Driver.
You almost killed him, and his son now holds his hand and he can't feel it.
They're gonna do like an avalanche Tiger Driver. Just you watch.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming.
And there's gonna be no emotional resonance out of it either.
Well, holy shit. Yeah. So
it's just
anyways,
something I do to win the match.
The Murder Monster showed up. Or Murder Machine. That's Cage and Archer. That's my name for the Murder Machine.
Okay.
And then Hobbs and Davis showed up to back Will up, and a brawl broke out. I wrote down should be a 6-man for next week. They should have announced this. I assume there's going to be, but they never told us during the show at all. But that would make sense, right? Have a 6-man for next week.
You mean with these three, and then
Osprey, Davis, and Hobbs against Fletcher and the Murder Machine.
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, and that'll be like the go home show for the pay per view.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
Yeah, but
for some reason I was saying the Kingdom involved. I was like,
no. No, but that's coming. So Fletcher and Davis backed into each other, but they never touched. So they still, in all these different brawls, they still have not like fought with each other. So they're saving that, which is good. Roddy Strong shows up and starts beating on Lance Archer with a kendo stick on the ramp, and then the ref shows up and he rings a bell. And like they're brawling towards the back, and then it's here that like apparently this match is no DQ,
false
no
count
count
anywhere.
Out,
it was false. Anywhere. It was a false count anywhere.
They
it was
never once said
last
that.
week. Last week they said it.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't. I did not know this match was happening until it started. Other than the fact that it was on that thing, they may have set this up on Collision.
Maybe they announced it on Twitter. I don't know, but I remember
it was definitely not announced on Dynamite last week, because remember on Dynamite last week, I still had no idea when Roddy Strong's matches were even going to happen. I'm sure it was either Collision or
it might have been Collision or Rampage.
Yeah. So anyway, so they start brawling. So they go to the back, and they're fighting in the dark. There's
production was not ready.
There is not. I'm not talking. It was hard to see. It was pitch black. And then they brought in one spotlight that was off to the side. So they're still brawling. You can kind of see their silhouettes. I think one of them went through a table in the dark. Then they cut to commercial. Now, I'm not sure if you got this in the United States, but here in Canada, what we got was these guys brawling full screen. It was not picture in picture. It was full screen, but we had the audio of the commercials. So I just had to watch to see how long this was going to go on. And then finally I can't watch people fighting while I'm hearing about Cialis and whatever. So I'm like, I just fast forwarded, but it was so bad. And then they come back from break and they're still brawling, and they just brawled for a while. Brian Cage showed up at one point. Then the Kingdom showed up. Now it's 3-on-2 versus the baby faces. And I wrote the production was terrible. Like they're missing shots left, right, and center. The brawl was pretty good. Archer stood on the barricade forever with Matt Taven. Then he choke slammed because he was waiting for these two security guards
for the two geeks to get down there so he could crash them on there.
So he choke slams him onto these security guards. Then he puts Roddy up there and he's going to do the same thing to him, but Roddy crotched him. And then Roddy hit him with a chair, hit him with a jumping knee in the crowd, and pinned him. And that was it. It was nothing.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah, this was okay. You know what? I just figured out what this was. You remember on Crown Jewel when they were supposed to have a match between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, and they never actually had a match, but they had an awesome brawl. Ended when Kevin Owens did a splash onto Orton on the table, and that was that. But there were actually people that complained about bait and switch and false advertising because we didn't get a match. So here we got a match. It just sucked, but at least we got a match. And so I that's what this was. I'm sure of it.
I didn't mind the quote unquote bait and switch because the brawl was so awesome.
It was the best thing on the show. Like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Who won? Who cares? Well, if you don't care, then why are you doing it?
I thought wins and losses were supposed to matter because they're all trying to see who the best is.
So if a bell had rung and Kevin Owens got his hand raised, you'd have been happy with that. Yeah. Okay. Fuck off.
I could put my star rating in my journal.
Yeah. Well, I was mad that I wrote down Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton and I had to erase it.
I wasn't trying to implicate you, Paul. Jesus.
But I'm using a spreadsheet. It's easy. I just hit clear. So that was that. MJF is in his lair. Anything you want to say about this brawl before I move on?
It sucked. I didn't like it. It was hard to watch. It wasn't fun, and nobody cares if Roddy gets into this match.
No,
nobody cares because we're waiting for Roddy to turn heel. We're still
Here's my impersonation of MJF, and I apologize that if you're not watching on video, pretend that this is a glass of wine, and here's MJF watching the camera. That's it. That's all they showed. He was sleeping. I think
there's still a part of me that sickeningly loves the bit that they're doing all of this on film.
I think
for MJF,
number one, they clearly filmed this all at the same time.
Yes,
about 3 weeks ago. Number two, I'm almost positive they've aired the exact same thing several times. Like for different segments, they just aired the same thing they aired last week.
Footage. We have stock MJF footage now.
Yeah. Although this one was new because I don't ever remember him sleeping. And
I just love that he's become Charles Foster Kane in his giant mansion alone, and he has nobody there to keep him company. Like I want him to have a snow globe or something.
Yeah, he's got where's that girl that was giving him a massage a while ago? So Roddy's now facing MJF at Full Gear. He grabs a mic, and I'm like, oh no. But I got ready to type out his promo. Max at Full Gear, this all ends, and I'm gonna finish your ass. That was it.
That was fine.
Short and sweet. Best promo he's ever cut.
Get to the point.
And then he's attacked from behind by Takeshita, and it's like, oh my, okay, this is ECW now. They're getting ready for November Rain, right? Which
this is
one match.
Everything's been flowing into each other the whole time. You're just like, you're right, man. That is ECW like 95 or whatever.
Yeah, and they're gonna get ready. They should just play November Rain through this whole thing.
Tommy Pyro's gonna come out eventually.
So he gets attacked by Takeshita. Nigel claimed that that Don Callis was paid off by MVP, but then he had to correct himself and say it was MJF.
I laughed at that.
So Cole makes the quote-unquote save by walking to the ring while his music's playing. So he walks to the ring. He dumps Takeshita out of the ring so he can do his pose while the music's playing. The match has started, by the way. The ref already rang the bell. His music's still playing, but he has to do his boom. And
the audience came to see the boom, so we had to get to the boom.
No, they didn't. These people don't like Adam Cole. So the match starts, and I swear to God, if you put Konosuke Takeshita and Adam Cole on paper and said, "Okay, guys, I got a challenge for you. Go out there, try to have the absolute worst possible match you can have. Don't hit anything. Don't try anything. Don't connect with the crowd. Just go out there and have the most." It wouldn't have been this bad. This was nothing.
Takeshi's such a giant that dwarfs Adam Cole.
No, and Cole's supposed to be the baby face, but people don't care about him. They like Takeshita. But he is a good heel. And then, so they go through a break, they come back. Cole misses a Panama Sunrise. Takeshita reverses into a pile driver, hits a release German and a lariat for 2. Crowd's starting to pick up because they're getting into Cole's babyface comeback. But then Takeshita grabbed the ring he got from Callis and he knocked out Cole with it, pinned him. That was it. This was like a jobber match almost.
And again, back to my point about the emotion, there was no look. Adam Cole really wants to get in the ring with MJF. But he's a bit in over his head against Takeshita, admittedly, and he's still injured. Where is the emotional resonance in some sort of desperation or something of trying to overcome this giant who is at full strength and is a lot stronger than you are and other things? It was an indie-rific match between two guys who are now seen as equals where they shouldn't have been seen as equals, to be honest.
But when you say indie-rific, like normally we would have got like 10 minutes of them trading moves and high spots and this, and we didn't even get that.
Well, they were trading moves. That's what I meant by indie-rific.
Oh, but it was
the offense didn't really affect.
But it was like anybody. A WWE, like almost like a WWE match. Like
it was a very pattern match. You're correct.
Yeah. Like Like, yeah, just these guys are both capable of so much more. So then they cut to MJF again. Now he's laughing. He woke up. He's drinking his wine. And then Roddy, babyface Roddy, attacked Takeshita from behind. Takeshita puts on his ring. He's going to knock Roddy out. But then Kyle O'Reilly shows up with a chair and makes a save. I'm like, what the is going on? And then the crowd is just dead. Like, they don't care about Kyle. They don't care about Roddy. They don't care about Adam. And Tony Schiavone says, look who's in the ring together, guys. And it's, and of course, it's, the former, I don't know. They had a name in Ring of Honor. I can't even remember what it was. Oh God, I should know this because I'm an ROH historian. They were a group from way back. They kind of started out together.
Future Shock.
I think that might have been the tag team with Cole and O'Reilly. Yeah. But they had another, like Generation Next, maybe.
Generation Next, or and Jack Evans was part of it, I think.
Yeah, and probably Bobby Fish too. But so they're in the ring together, and then all of a sudden Ricochet shows up, kicked Takeshita's head off. You'd think you'd get a great pop for this. Nope. Takeshita drops his belt. Ricochet picks it up, except the crowd, the camera cut away and went back to the ring. So forget about Ricochet. It doesn't matter. I think he held up the belt. I assume he held up the belt, but we didn't actually get to see it. So they go back to the ring, and Kyle picks up Roddy, helps him to his feet. Roddy, keep in mind, Roddy, the guy who was a total jackass for months and months and years.
The guy who always breaks up the clique.
The guy who has been a heel the whole time, who's now a babyface. Yeah, they were the Undisputed Era in NXT, but it goes back further than that, Jason. So he picks up Roddy. Cole offered him a handshake. Roddy looks at him and walks away.
Okay,
if you only watch AEW, this doesn't really make sense, but if you go back to NXT, it does.
No, but it also goes back to a story they were telling like 2 months ago where Kyle O'Reilly longs to be in, but they turned on him.
Yes, and Roddy was trying to recruit him.
Yes.
For months, and Kyle was turning him down constantly. He ends up with the conglomeration. Now
he helps Roddy out after Roddy and
right.
the Undisputed
and
Kingdom
Cole
turned
was supposed
on him.
To be a baby. Like, this made no sense. The crowd was dead.
No,
dead for all this. They're not reacting at all. I don't know what they got to do with Adam Cole. But they just don't care about him. The way the crowd cares about the way
he's
Cole,
a better heel.
The way the crowd feels about Cole is the way I feel about AEW right now.
And there's supposed to be some nostalgia for the Ring of Honor days that's not there for this crew. And look, if you were a booking guy, what would you book next week?
For this group?
Yes.
So what's the goal?
Well, the goal is to tease that Adam Cole can still find a way into this match with MJF.
So then my match would be Adam Cole versus Roddy Strong, and if Cole wins, he gets into that 3-way.
Okay, I thought about that, but I saw somebody say that this is easy. Roddy takes him on at Full Gear, and Adam Cole takes him on at World's End. But I don't think this feud is good enough for that. I would do Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly with Roddy as the special ref.
Yeah. No. Okay, wait. Can you repeat
and then Adam Cole takes on Kyle O'Reilly. And if Adam Cole wins, he gets into 3-way with MJF and Roddy, but Roddy's the special referee, which gives him the temptation to screw
he screws over Adam Cole. Yeah,
but that's the story. But I don't care enough about this. Except I want MJF to beat both of them. Yeah. I think you're the one that's going to be correct. I think it's going to be Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong for Adam Cole to have the right to get into into a match.
It's probably going to be Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong with Kyle O'Reilly as a special guest referee.
That could be it too, but I think MJF's coming in to get a double DQ. So I still think we're getting the 3-way. I don't think
I think we're getting the 3-way
for 2 pay-per-views.
Nobody on earth wants to see MJF versus Roderick Strong.
I just want to get past Adam Cole and MJF, to be honest with you, and to have them both do something decent.
Jason corrected me. He says Roddy's never part. So it is a flashback to NXT then.
Okay.
So, I will quote Larry, who you mentioned earlier in the show. This was a comment he famously made to me when the Undisputed Era showed up on Dynamite for the first time. If I wanted to watch Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong, I would have watched them when they were on NXT.
Okay.
And I didn't. So I think there's some people that feel that way about
I
these
never
guys.
thought MJF would be this cold in AEW.
He's not there. I mean, that's the problem.
That too. Like, he's doing Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, they'd be better off just keeping him out this cycle and bringing him back for a big
I agree.
Yeah. And where the hell's Danny Garcia? Like
how does he fit into this?
Well, he was involved with MJF, and
he's waiting outside. He's waiting outside the arena with the rest of the.
He's probably waiting. He's probably waiting outside MJF's lair. He's going to attack him.
No, you see. I think Moxley and the truck went to a different entrance again, and they keep tricking him every time.
So he's waiting.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Moxley and his truck, a black truck pulls up, and Marina gets out with her briefcase. Mox gets out of the back seat, and then Wheeler and Claudia just appear in the shot. So I assume they got out, and we just didn't see it. But I think there is someone driving this truck, because later on when the truck is running, Marina gets into the passenger, or Mox gets in the passenger seat. Marina gets into the back seat. Claudio gets into the other back seat, and this truck's about to take off.
No, I think Claudio's the driver, isn't he?
Maybe, but I don't
on this one. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know, but maybe it might be a mystery. Maybe there's another member of their crew. But so they make their way to the ring. But first, we go to a commercial. We come back, and it's Renee with Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Syndicate. She asked Bobby about the match with Swerve, and she says that Swerve is one of the most dangerous men in pro wrestling, one of the most decorated champions we've ever had. MVP asked her, "Where'd you get your journalism degree? Let me show you how it's done." Bobby Lashley, you are without question the most indomitable force in pro wrestling. How does it feel that in less than 2 weeks you may end a young man's career? Lashley says, "I'm going to make an example out of him. I will hurt Swerve." And MVP says, "Swerve will be in action later on tonight, and we'll be watching." Hands the mic back to Renee, said, "That's how it's done." And they walk off, and Renee
agreed with MVP. That is how it's done.
Pissed.
The only thing that would have made this a 5-star segment is if MVP had looked at Renee and goes, "Did you go to journalism for that?" To bring back the old Billy Kay line.
No, he asked where you get your journalism degree.
Well, he did, but I mean, but the exact phrasing from when the Iconics came back and did you go to journalism for that?
Oh yeah. No, this was a nice performance by MVP. The biggest
some energy. Energy is nice in a promo segment, as opposed to everybody being neutral and waiting and then say, "I'm gonna destroy him." Yeah. This is why the guys in the 80s used to scream all the time, because it was just it was a fake energy trying to get something going with their promo. I appreciate them a lot more now.
So we cut back to the arena, and Claudio and Wheeler make their way out of the entranceway, and they're beating on JD Drake. And apparently he was scheduled to compete later on tonight. I don't remember seeing that in the lineup. Maybe it was on Ring of Honor or something. And I'll bet you anything he is on the Ring of Honor tapings. But Wheeler's beating on him with a chair. Then they cut over to another part of the arena, and you see Mox and Marina standing there waiting for their cue. Did you catch that?
Yes.
Oh my God. So Moxley's music hits, and they come out. This out of control takeover of the Superstation has begun. Marina is far be it from me to criticize.
She's a MacGuffin. She's still a MacGuffin, but continue.
Far be it for me to criticize someone's wardrobe. She is wearing Daisy Dukes over a pair of black sweats.
Ridiculous.
Mox forced a cameraman into the ring for some reason.
Marina forced a cameraman.
Oh, Marina. Okay. Ring. Like wouldn't he would have just gotten the ring anyways. Like, I don't understand what the need was to force a cameraman.
He's a bully who's changing things, and he's taking over the Superstation.
Yeah, whatever. So he says, "I've been thinking about Orange Cassidy a lot these last few days. He's playing the game very well. Chuck Taylor's drinking his food through a straw because you didn't save him. Wheeler Yuta belongs to me. He's one of my soldiers because you couldn't save him. You got your hands in your pocket, the eye on the prize. You got a shot at a lifetime on November 23rd at Full Gear. All your friends, all your fans, your peers, the pressure is building up, and you're cool as a cucumber. So I got to make an example out of Orange Cassidy at Full Gear on November 23rd. I'm going to brutalize Orange Cassidy. I'm going to stomp his face into hamburger meat. I'm going to mutilate him so bad his mother won't recognize him. and everyone in the back who thinks they want to, who want to be someone, are going to see that, and they're going to run and hide, and we will continue to do whatever the hell we want because I command the AEW World Championship and we have the power. Now, I was texting back and forth with somebody, and they mentioned to me that we have not seen the AEW World Championship on TV for at least 6 weeks because Mox doesn't carry it. And I said, do you not know that the belt is in the briefcase? And this is a guy that watches every single week. I think he watches the other shows too. He had no idea that Marina's carrying around the briefcase.
Well,
with the belt in it.
I mean, this was a takeover of the Superstation, and back in the 80s, they played the Blues Brothers every weekend. It might be the microphone from Jake Blues. That's what
might be. It might be. But there was a promo about probably 5 or 6 weeks ago where Moxley explained all this. He is not carrying the belt around, and it's in the briefcase because he took that belt from AEW because the belt is bullshit. The belt does not make the man makes the man, and he is the man in AEW. So he doesn't need a belt. So you want to beat him to become the man, you got to beat him. The belt is irrelevant. The belt is what's wrong with AEW. That's why he's not carrying it.
They need to explain that more.
Yes.
That was fantastic.
Thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. Excalibur needs to mention this every single week. Well, like Moxley doesn't have to mention it again, but they need to bring out, there's
I would do an entire CNN style crawl where belt held hostage, day number 35 with like a scroll underneath.
Yeah. But that's it. Like, so that this is the story. And, and he didn't like that story and whatever. You like it, you don't like it. I actually like it. Like, I think that makes sense.
I think it's a way to get rid of the belt because I think that briefcase is eventually going to get destroyed. So it's like, now we need a new title belt. Here it is.
John gave me a compliment here. Paul explained that whole concept in 10 seconds better than Moxley has in the last 2 months. Well, the problem is Moxley explained it 5 weeks ago and expects.
And we're all supposed to remember.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like, it's probably that show that nobody watched. It might have been on Rampage for all I know, but I know he said it. So Orange Cassidy's music hits. He wanders out like he's Adam Cole making a save. And he's wearing all black while the Death Riders are in all white. I thought that was ironic. Fans chanting freshly squeezed. And Briscoe and Rocky are out there to back him up. Smart babyface. And he says, hello, I agree with you. I believe you. I believe you can do all the things you say you're going to do. It's because of what's in that briefcase. You hold the symbol that represents AEW to me, to us, and to all these people. It represents everything that pro wrestling can be. The power, the AEW World Championship. We can fight all over this building, this parking lot, catering, doesn't matter. The only way you can become AEW World Champion is by wrestling. And I wrestle more than anyone else here. And I'm pretty good at it.
Emphasize wrestle every time you say it because he made a point to.
Yes, he said wrestle. And I can confirm, I keep a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet on Orange Cassidy's thing goes out to here, and everyone else ends like here. He wrestles a lot.
Yes.
In case you didn't notice. So he says, and I do it pretty well too, because I beat you. Remember that? He says, and we're going to wrestle, and I'm going to beat you again, and I'm going to take the power back. And you expect at this point, when he said that, the crowd would just explode. And no, they're mild.
Paul, he says, I would have liked a video clip of him pinning Moxley.
Yes, remind people.
Remind me that he did that, because I forgot he did that.
Yeah, but then you know what? You don't want to show the crowd, because you might show how hot that crowd was back then and compared to now. You do crowd shaming. He said, you told me a couple years ago that while everyone is playing checkers, we're playing chess. Well, there's a couple pawns I need to get rid of, and that's you, Wheeler Yuta. So I guess he's a couple pawns. Next week we're gonna wrestle, and I'm gonna remove the pawn that lets me take the king. And Wheeler off mic says, "I'm not a pawn." Claudio says, "Shut up." I laughed.
That might have been one of my favorite moments on the show, to be honest with you. But it's you know what ticks me off is okay. So Moxley makes it a point to remind people that Chuck Taylor is drinking his lunch through a straw.
Yeah.
And what does Orange Cassidy want to do? I want to wrestle you.
Yeah, I don't want to fight you.
I don't want to beat your ass.
No, I want to wrestle you.
I want to grapple fuck you.
Yeah. I want to hit you with my orange punch. Yeah.
I want to put an arm bar on you to celebrate friendship.
So Moxley said, I'll see if you have the guts to pull the trigger on someone you think is your friend. And at Full Gear, I have one message for you who thinks, and anyone else who thinks they want what I got. Abandon all hope. So he stole Bray Wyatt's catchphrase, which apparently came from somewhere else.
Abandon hope, all ye who enter here.
Yeah. So that's that. So then they start to leave, and gentleman in a purple Sting mask dove off the entranceway onto the Death Riders as they're leaving. Of course, it's Darby, and brawl broke out. Marina pulls Mox out of it. Darby he's lying dead because I think he just hit the ground. He dove. Crowd is dead. You would have expected a huge pop and Darby. Nobody reacted because they probably couldn't see it. I don't know.
Yeah, they probably couldn't see it, and they probably weren't watching the Jumbotron. They were watching the guys leave. They didn't notice that the guy jumped out until that. And God bless Darby for wanting to kill himself for a spot nobody cares about to get energy into this crowd, but it didn't last very long because I think
it didn't work. No, the crowd was dead. So Marina pulls Mox away. So she gets him out. They go to the truck, and this is where I said, like, there's someone in the passenger seat, and Claudio wasn't there yet. So like, there's someone waiting with that truck. It's running, and so they get in the truck. Claudio jumps in the back, and I guess Wheeler was left there, unless he was in the front. Maybe he was driving. I don't know.
Darby was in there.
No, Darby shows up and jumps in the back of the pickup truck into the, what do they call it? The bed. So the truck stops. Claudio jumps out. He beats the living hell out of Darby Allin by himself, swings him around, bashes him into a bay door, leaves him for dead, and they left. Okay. I guess this was the setup for the match they're going to have next week.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
He already killed him.
Yeah, you got heat. So that's that. We go to break. We come back. Highlights of the 6-man from last week when she pinned Jericho, and she's with Jericho. And he points out how they were both wrestling in war when she was a young boy. You become one of the toughest and best pro wrestlers in the world. They showed highlights of their match on Dynamite 2 years ago in Chicago. Key point. In 2 weeks on Dynamite in that same city, we will face each other for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Since we met in war, I've gone on to bigger, better things. I've become the Nueve and the 2-time ROH World Champion. I'm going to invoke the courage of great ROH champions of the past, like Jay Briscoe. And so see you in the Windy City. And then Brian Keith says, Chris Jericho is going to blow your dumb ass away. And then Big Bill just smiles and waves.
Well, Bill had the intro into this segment.
Oh, did he? I must have fast forwarded it because it was out of a break. Okay, so I got to go back and watch now. I love Big Bill.
Another one of those hippy dippy, statements you put on your wall from the cutting edge or whatever.
Something that John Hamm would have wrote.
The learning tree tells us, that kind of thing. It was perfect. It was a good segment. I liked it.
So we get we also got a video telling us that as well as that match in 2 weeks, the Continental Classic is going to start that night. So, hey, promotion. Yay. I like it. We got the Continental Classic coming up. Maybe I don't have to give up on the show yet.
The tournament.
Yeah.
You say.
Yeah, the G1 successor.
Right.
So next we got Britt Baker and Penelope Ford. Much like the first match, I have no idea why this is happening.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so it wasn't just me.
I mean, we could have at least, and they just, this segment, it baffled me in so many ways. Britt Baker is apparently a star, and it was just an afterthought in a lot of the promotion. There was no promotion of her going to be on later or anything like that.
Last week, Britt Baker returns to Dynamite. Nope.
Yes.
Nope. I messaged you on the weekend because I didn't know about this match. I swear to God. And I said, that was a hell of a case of strep throat Britt Baker had, like 2 months ago. And because she cut that video, and all the people that were saying she just didn't show up because she didn't want a job to Willow. And she did that fake sore throat thing on her. Sorry,
I don't
real
think that
sore
was
throat thing.
Fake. I really don't.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Britt, if you're listening, I apologize. But I didn't know she was coming back. And then you said, "Oh, there's rumors."
And I'm not going to talk about those right now. Let's move on.
No, I'm just saying. But at that point, I think the match had already been made. I think they announced it on Collision. Yeah, so it wasn't rumors; it was actually happening. So, but I don't know why. And obviously, that decision hadn't been made last Wednesday, or they would have promoted it. You would think they would aired a vignette or something. We're getting Julie. Oh, we're gonna get to Julie Hart.
I thought Penelope Ford looked good in this match.
She looks fine. The match was fine.
It was fine, but it's what
nobody cared.
No, nobody cared, and it wasn't to set up anything other than Serena Deeb.
Well, I think it's yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's setting up Serena Deeb. I'm like, what? So yeah, so Britt Baker hit a heel kick and a neck breaker. Then she put on her glove, and then as she's doing her chant, she gets booted from behind by Penelope. Penelope puts on the Moodle lock, and then the most awkward counter in history. Britt countered into the lockjaw. I was really liking the match until the finish. The finish was not great. So
I thought the finish was clever, but it's also one of those things where clever finishes can turn some people off.
Well, up until this point, this may have actually been the best wrestling match on the show. Like I didn't really think much of the first two, and I think there was only two other ones before this.
And boy, if you wanted to see somebody who, speaking of emotional connection, and a good stage character, Britt Baker came out like she had punched a clock.
Yep. Well, I'm here. I'm checking in for work, Tony.
DMD.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was DMD. So out comes Serena Deeb. I wrote down what? I was so blown. Like, I don't even know what happened. Did they?
You know what I wrote down?
They fight? What?
Did you hear the back and forth or anything that was said into the camera?
Nope.
Britt looks into the camera and goes, "Who cares?" And I just sat there. I took stock of my life. I said, if there's a microcosm for this show,
yeah. Oh, I gotta go
right there.
Okay, so I gotta go back and watch the Big Bill thing, and I gotta watch
Serena Deeb comes out with her flag and she starts saying something, and nobody picks it up because it's not on the mic.
Yeah,
and Britt's like watching for a moment, and then she looks at the camera and goes, "Who cares?" and walks away.
Oh God, certainly not us. So then they go to the back, and it's Mina Shirakawa, because they told us last week that Marina was coming. So she said a bunch of stuff. I didn't write it down. And then Harley Cameron shows up and says, "People call you the Harley Cameron of Japan. Well, I'm the Harley Cameron of Harley Cameron. So how about this week on Collision, you and me, tit for tit. May the breast women win." And they proceeded to shake their tits into the camera as fast and loose as possible, while Renee was horrified and tried to stop it and couldn't. Did I get any of that wrong?
No. God bless Harley Cameron. It was just for Mina to come out with her boobs with a vest that was 3 sizes too small.
They were fantastic.
Okay, fine. Harley Cameron brought some energy to her promo, and it's good. I did see a relevant criticism though, and it's from Kate over at Fightful, and she goes, "Why are they scripting Harley Cameron the same as Toni Storm?
Are they?"
And I was thinking about that. And I go, yeah, that's valid. Even though Harley Cameron comes in, and she has acting and comedic chops, and she brings it every time, and I enjoy her. But that criticism is valid. This was a Toni Storm.
The difference between the two of them is Toni Storm was delusional, and I think she whereas Harley Cameron is just like bizarre.
She's
a difference between delusional and bizarre. Yeah, like she's a flake, but she's not like. She actually believes everything she's saying. I don't think that Toni believed everything she was saying. She was just, out there. So it's a little different. But I kind of understand.
Yes, this was a chance for me to try her broken English and say Collision.
Did you know that last week when they did that Mina is coming video, there was a QR code in the thing, and I assumed that if I clicked on that, it was just gonna be more Mina. But apparently it was
too.
Yeah, but it was a video of where in the world is Toni Storm. So it's supposed to be like they're trying to do the Bray Wyatt thing where they're like promoting Toni Storm's return, but I don't think anybody picked up on it. And I don't think I heard like Brian Alvarez recapping, so he talked about it, but I haven't seen any buzz about this whatsoever. No. So if they hint to, February 5th, she's gonna show up in like Annapolis, Maryland, or something. Like it's. I don't think it's gonna have the same effect on ratings as the Bray Wyatt thing did. I just the gut feeling. Just get her back on TV already. Like, I don't even like her, but she's over, and I want to see people. I want to see people care about, rather than whatever the hell this show's been lately. So that was that. So we're getting those two on Collision. That should be a lot of fun. Harley's good. I like her.
She is.
She's nuts, and it's awesome.
It's the same reaction I have to Chelsea Green over on the other show.
Yeah. That's very
She'll take a beating. She's a pretty girl who's not afraid to mess herself up.
No, and she's not afraid to make herself look
game.
stupid.
She's game for anything. Yeah.
Anything. Yeah, she would thrive so much over there. Like, she's doing fine here too, and maybe she
over there. They cut her.
Did they really? Harley?
Yeah.
She'd never made TV.
Under Danny Alexo, her name. Yeah, that's where she met her husband.
But she never actually made TV.
I believe she may have made
maybe like a battle royal or something,
like a level up or a battle royal or something. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta look that up. So Swerve Strickland and Lio Rush, another one. Like, why is this match happening? I don't know. But it was a good match. Really good match. They're trying to tell a story here about how, I guess, Swerve was his mentor, and they wrestled 9 years ago, and I think
they recreated the spot that they did on NXT.
Oh,
where Lio Rush did the backflip off the apron, and Swerve does the dive over and lands on his feet.
I don't even remember that, but I'll take.
I saw somebody posted it, and then I reposted it on my timeline. I didn't remember.
So the crowd was super into this. Like, it's the first time all night they've been in.
Lio Rush is great. He brings charisma and he brings energy. So yeah,
and so does Swerve. I mean, Swerve.
Nobody expected him to win, so nobody was that excited about it.
True. I mean, and they kind of, as the match went on, they kind of got less into it.
Yeah.
Excalibur says,
hurry up and get to the end. That's what
at one point these guys are as close as brothers. So another one of these closest brothers that we never knew about before Excalibur mentioned it.
Tell, don't show, I guess.
And the weird thing is they're both baby faces, I think. So, like,
yes, but Leo's cockiness always comes off as heelish.
Yeah,
and Swerve's coolness comes off as heelish.
But the thing is, like, why aren't they still friends? Except they probably are. So
they're just trying to see who the best is, Paul.
Leo was very subtly cheating in this match.
Yes, because they've been teasing a heel turn with him.
Right. There's one point where he rolled up Swerve and he tried to get his feet on the ropes and missed. Then he got his back feet on the ropes, and then Nana told the ref, and the ref wouldn't count. So, he did his job.
Yes.
They a bunch of awesome spots. Leo did a reverse Rana on the outside, and then he tried to do it in the ring, and it didn't hit. He did a frog splash, and I think he went too far and landed on Swerve's knees, but that he wasn't supposed to happen. So they actually, did the thing. He tried that cool springboard stunner thing he does, but Swerve caught him and started working his body. Leo rolled him up. That's where they did the spot with the hand on the ropes. He went for the reverse Rana again, and then Swerve reversed that and hit him with the JML driver and got the pin. Really good match. I assumed that after this that Leo was going to join the Hurt Syndicate, but didn't happen. I think it's coming, but it didn't happen here. And that was the match. So we can get into the post match unless there's anything you want to say about. Yeah, it's good.
No, I think him and Action both joined the Hurt Syndicate as their tag team.
Up until this point, this was the best thing on the show, but I actually like the main event more. So Swerve got a mic. Prince Nana's leading him in chants. He says, "Seems like everyone's got the idea that now that I'm back, everyone wants to come for the baddest man in AEW. They want to use my name, my equity, my accolades to prove a point. Lio Rush tried and failed. A couple weeks ago, Shelton Benjamin tried to make a name off my name, and he got laid out too. So that leads me to you, Bobby Lashley. Like it says right there," and he points to the sign, "We got Full Gear 1 week from Saturday." Now, I don't know, Stanford. I think he's got to give him a fight tonight. I'm still running, and there's nowhere to hide. I don't know if he realized that he screwed up the city name. The fans did.
I think he remembered at the moment that he was in Connecticut, but couldn't remember the town.
Yeah, so he said Stanford. He should have just said Connecticut.
Yep.
So Bobby Lashley and MVP come out. MVP's doing a promo. The fans are chanting, "We are Bridgeport."
Yeah, that's what they're okay.
Yes,
okay. I wasn't understanding what they were chanting. Yeah.
And he says, "If you want to fight with a member of the syndicate, all you got to do is ask, and I'll set it up." Swerve, we like you a lot. He's desperately trying to talk over these fans. To be honest, the reason we recruited you is because you have so much unrealized potential. One of the things we want to teach you is, well, I guess it's true. The almighty Bobby Lashley's ready to fight now because as he's talking, Lashley's taking off his suit and he's
this entrance was way too cool. MVP needs to come out and heel on the crowd so that they're booing him.
He needs to say, no, I'm not fighting unless I'm getting paid.
That too.
Yeah. And that's like, so he says, we don't have to wait 2 weeks, but there's a lesson for you to learn. One of the lessons we're trying to teach you is that there's strength in numbers, but you still haven't learned that lesson. So, of course, the idiot babyface Swerve gets attacked from behind by Shelton Benjamin.
So Swerve never learned a lesson by being in the Mogul affiliates and having a heel stable of his own, which did the same exact stuff that he's now getting the victim
every
of.
week. Every week. Yeah, Nana either, even though he was the one that orchestrated it all. So, Shelton attacking from behind. Lashley comes in, takes his head off with a clothesline, beats him up on the ramp, tosses him into barricades. Nana and Shelton are like in each other's faces. Crowd's chanting for MVP and all this. So MVP takes Nana by the neck with his cane and forces him to watch Lashley chokeslam Swerve. Bobby Lashley puts on the Hurt Lock. They won't call it that. Refs come out, but they won't even get in the ring. I'm looking at this and I'm picturing like, how is this any different from the Moxley stuff? But nobody ever comes out to stop him. It's exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fans chanting Bridgeport through all this. And that was that. So Swerve done screwed up, but hey, it's one time. It's no big deal. It's like when Moxley.
They're lucky they weren't cheering on him putting on the Hurt Lock on him or screwing up the six.
It's funny though that he said Stanford. People are gonna go, because he wants to go back there.
No. Of all the guys, I think he's the one guy who does not want to go back there.
No, I agree with you. It's just ironic.
Yes, it is.
So we go backstage. Oh my God. I don't even know what I'm going to do here. Okay, so Renee's with Jamie Hayter. She says Renee looks absolutely smashing. Renee congratulates her on her win last week. Asks her what's next. She says, that's a question everybody has. Didn't I do what I told everyone I was going to do? I'm going to continue to do what I said I would do. I came back to right wrongs. But for right now, I'm coming after one thing.
Oh, I hate this. I hate this trope.
It's
the worst trope in professional wrestling.
Because they assume we know what the hell she's talking about.
Well, not just that, but we're about to get some motivation for a character that's been kind of nothing in the past few weeks. Jamie? Okay, here's the one. Yeah, here's the one thing I want to do in this guy. Lights out. Somebody interrupts. It's just like
we cut to Julia Hart on a bed. She's wearing a white shirt covered in blood. A phone starts ringing. She answers it.
The
guy says his name is Brody. I assume it's Brody King.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be like a recording of Brody Lee, because it's pretty clear she's dreaming. And remember, she was in that stable.
You're overthinking this. Wow. She was never in the Dark Order.
Yes, oh no, right. It was Anna Jay. Never mind. Okay, you're right. Brody says it's time to come home. She starts talking, but we can't hear anything because there's spooky music playing. So I have no idea what she said. Somebody said it's time to wake up. She goes to a mirror, starts washing her face. She screams. They're focusing on the blood. She turns into a zombie. Someone from outside handed her a hat and a bow and arrow. And I wrote down, what the fuck is this? And then it ended.
There's a Malachi Black lore shit is what this is.
But here's the thing. So I asked that same question in our Discord, and somebody explained to me, well, the first video was part 1. And then this was part 2 of her returning she's shedding her cheerleader gimmick and going into the House of Black. I said, okay, first of all, she already did that. The last time we saw her, she was a witch.
She was Stevie Nicks last time.
Yeah, and she was in the House of Black. She was orchestrating everything. Number 2, the first video, what are you talking about? Well, apparently they aired a video on Collision, which nobody watched.
I was about to ask you, what other video? Did I miss something?
Why didn't they just re-air the video from Collision tonight? They don't have to do this so fast. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
assume that not everyone watched Collision.
You have time to actually build stories. You don't need to book everything in 3 days.
I hope they don't, Lady B. She says
I don't think they will. I don't know.
Collision, all right. I mean, that match is coming, obviously, but I would.
She needs to have a return match before they even put her in the ring with
World's End.
Jamie
World's
Hayter.
End would be when that'll be, because I'm not even sure who should win that.
That would be a Trish Adora, or a red velvet or something, get a squash match in there, and then we can start to build a feud with Jamie Hayter, and we can explain why these two are fighting, other than the fact that her dream sequence interrupted Jamie Hayter's promo, and get some stakes to this thing.
I am sure we're going to find out that Julia injured her or something. And
now she's going to be what, the Dark Archer Julia Hart or something, because she's not. This is just kind of a gimmick refresh. I'm here for that, but she's still just going to be part of the House of Black.
Yeah, she's still going to be in the House of Black. So why not just bring her back as part of the House of Black? Like I don't mind the idea of vignettes to promote, but I'm already seeing from the same people you would expect. Oh my God, whoever wrote that deserves an Emmy. Well, fuck off.
She's now the new aggressive Julia Hart because she's a warrior.
She already was
House of Black.
Before
she was a witch. Now she's an archer.
Okay. All right. So she's going to be shooting people with arrows, I guess.
God, all right. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. But she does have the hat back, so that's good. So Private Party gets an intro for some reason, I wrote also, it's the first time we've seen them since they won the belts. If you only watch Dynamite, they did a thing on Collision, the show after they won the titles, where it was like a celebration and they had all the tag teams in there and everything. But if you missed that, which most people did, this is the first time you've seen Private Party,
and they're back to their shtick again.
Yeah, they're doing the thing with the bouncer,
with the velvet rope and everything. Yeah.
So they do their whole entrance. They come down to the ring. They don't get a promo. They walk back.
Which, by the way, is a heel gimmick.
Yes. They sit at the top of the ramp to watch this match. They don't even get to sit on commentary, although they might as well have been on commentary for the amount of time,
because they kept cutting back to them every time. It's like,
and did you get when they kept cutting back to them? They were judges watching a choreographed routine.
Yes, they were.
They got me.
They got me. Oh, I thought they had them there.
Yeah. It's like you and I watching a show together, and it's like, oh my God, that was a great near fall.
Yes. No, exactly. They are outside. They were breaking the fourth wall. They're basically 100%. Doing this is a professional wrestling worked match as opposed to an actual athletic endeavor.
Yeah. So this main event of Dynamite here, it's FTR against the Kings of the Black Throne. Winners get the match at Full Gear, and immediately the crowd died. They did not care about this match at all. They got into it as the match went on, and by the end, they were super into it because these guys are awesome and they had a great match. But at the beginning, they didn't care. They ran down the Collision lineup. Apparently, Mariah May and Anna Jay are wrestling for the world title in a no DQ match, even though Anna Jay beat her or lost to her 2 weeks ago.
This is the best match. 2 out of 3, apparently, in terms of the matchup type of thing, because I guess she won a match somewhere.
She won a match to get the title shot. She won a proving ground match. She lost her title match.
Yes, and now this is the tiebreaker.
Why do we need a tiebreaker?
I don't know.
Yeah, what's the point of the first match? Okay, anyways. Johnny TV, I asked earlier about where Daniel Garcia is. Well, he's wrestling Johnny TV on Collision.
Yes.
Yeah, great re-signing there, dumbass. LFI versus the Acclaimed. Winner gets into the 4-way at Full Gear. Sorry.
That escalated quickly.
Oh my God. Tony's like, I got big plans for you, Danny.
Here you go.
Wrestling Eminem's sidekick.
Here, do some comedy sketches with Johnny TV and Taya.
No, Taya's with Deanna in the Vendetta on Rampage. She's a step below Johnny TV now. Johnny TV is...
That's the Vendetta?
Yeah. Johnny TV is the sidekick of MXM.
Okay.
So Danny gets to go through all 3 members of MXM. Then he's going to advance to the Cruiserweight the Continental Classic, where he's going to win 2 matches this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know how you always ask me if I've watched Collision or Rampage?
Yeah.
This is why I haven't.
Oh, yeah, because of stuff like this. Danny Garcia and Johnny TV. Saturday at 8:05 on TBS. Sorry, it's TNT, I think.
That also, Harley bad Cameron TV main event, to be honest with you. But
no, the main event. Well, no, the main event's probably the.
I meant in a world of squash matches.
Oh,
if that was the TV main event, that'd be fine.
We also got, lest we forget, Harley Cameron and Mina Shirakawa.
Hell yes.
Yeah, I'm
5 star. The floor is 5 stars. for this match.
They're going up against John Jones and Stipe, but I may make time for this match on Saturday.
Well, one of those matches may actually happen.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they're taping it tomorrow, so we'll know. So they have their match. They recreated the spot with Adam Cole last week where Malachi just sat down in the middle of the match, but they ended up just fighting. They went to break with 3 minutes left in the show, so they're going to have a massive tune-up for the overrun again. After they come back, Brody makes a hot tag and he runs wild. Tony Schiavone says we're in overtime. Brody was a star. Brody was the star of this match. He did a cannonball on both guys, got a 2 count. There was no reaction to the kick out. Then the fans started chanting Brody, even though I'm pretty sure FTR is supposed to be the baby faces.
Yeah.
Malachi did a dive to the outside, took out Cash. Brody powerbombed Dax and got a near fall. Crowd chanted, "This is awesome."
Well, they're both baby faces because remember,
True.
Black was the honorable one who let Adam Cole kick his head in or something.
He's
know.
The honorable macabre demon god.
Yes.
Dynamite next week. Orange Cassidy and Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli and Darby. That's it. So make your plans.
Don't book an overrun again.
Yeah, for those 2 matches. We're probably getting that 6-man I talked about earlier, I would guess too. FTR sets up power and glory spot, but Brody got his knees up. Malachi did a stomp onto Dax and rolled Brody onto him, but he only got 2. Zay's like, "Oh, I thought it was over." Crowd's chanting for FTR. They went for Dante's Inferno. FTR hit the Shatter Machine on Brody, but Malachi pulled him out of the ring before the ref could make the 3 count. Crowd cheered that. Zay again. They got me.
As this match got better, it got worse to watch because of this Zay crap.
Yes. If they would have just not, if they would have had Zay on commentary reacting, that might have been better. But they kept
Private Party's supposed to be baby faces right now, and they're healing them on me, but I keep on interrupting with Zay going nuts for this match.
So they did this. FTR did the spike pile driver onto the apron onto Malachi, so that took him out.
Yeah.
Brody dove onto both members of FTR, took them out. Zay again, it's over. Brody took his head off with a lariat, but only got 2. Then he hit another one, got 2 again. Crowd isn't reacting to this at all. Zay kept saying, "It's over, it's over." Then finally the fans started chanting, "Fight forever." So what does Brody King do? Picked him up, put on a sleeper, put him out.
Well, let me back
went to sleep.
Because when the audience popped once, and that was for the Brody dive on the two of them, and it was loud, and then you start getting that half-hearted. That was the time we're supposed to say "fight forever," and it was lame. And and then he picked him up, put him in a sleeper, which shocked me because look, it's an interesting choice given that you thought that the FTR Outrunner story was going to play out during the 4-way, but I'm fine with it, I guess. I'd rather see these 2 in a ladder match than FTR in a ladder match. Let's put it that way.
I'd rather have seen this be the world title match at Full Gear than whatever we're going to get.
Is it it's a 4-way ladder match, right? Or is it just a 4-way?
I don't know if it's a ladder match. I think it's just a 4-way, but it might.
I think they're going to add a ladder to it.
Probably. So it's Private Party, the Outrunners, the Knights of the Black Throne or the Kings of the Black Throne, and then the winner of LFI and the Acclaim, which I can only assume is going to be LFI, but
yes.
Yeah. Jason pointed out that Dax looked out of it. I think he was just selling really well. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it might have. I thought Cash looked a little heavier than usual, but
taking that dive from Brody can't be fun.
No.
But yeah, so they get the win. I see people predicting that what's going to happen is the Outrunners are going to have a spot. They're going to hit that, SOB elbow, and then he's going to do his big Hulk up, and then FTR is going to show up and cost them the match. And
I hope not. It's already a 4-way. We don't need a 5th team in there.
Yeah, but there's no DQ in a multi-team match.
I know you're saying this to me, but I'm still saying we have 4 teams in there. We don't need.
The way the booking's gone, I half expect LFI to lose to the Acclaimed because everyone assumed that it was going to be FTR winning this. So probably,
I think they're belting the Outrunners.
Oh,
and then cool. FTR will congratulate them and ask for the first shot, and that's going to be the breakup.
Yeah. Well, they'll do they'll recreate. So they're going to take the whole 3-year storyline of the Mega Powers and do it in about 3 weeks.
Yeah. And then Private Party will have their lovely 2 or 3 week title reign. So they can be heels again and they can get upset too. Yeah.
You're in the exact same spot you were 5 weeks ago.
Break Zay's hand.
So that was Dynamite. I liked the last half hour.
Dynamite. Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah,
I said that was not Dynamite.
Wasn't? Oh yeah. Dynamite.
I'm tired of these these overruns.
Oh,
Stop it. Stop it. Get your crap in 2 hours.
Sean can do it. You can do it, Tony. He does.
No, he does.
Yeah.
But WWE is also hitting its story points a lot better than these guys.
Yeah, these guys are just all over the place. Like I said, the one thing they did well is promote that pay-per-view. Now the problem is there's a bunch of matches on that pay-per-view I don't really care about.
Yeah.
So, like what did they like? MJF and Roddy Strong was a match they built tonight.
Yes.
Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy. I mean, maybe you care about that.
Mercedes and Chris, maybe.
No, because Mercedes is going to win. I know that because Chris has been beating the shit out of her backstage every single week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I assume we're probably going to get Mina and Mariah probably.
Maybe boy, that feels like a pre-show match though.
Mina and Mariah? I don't know. I think that's a main card match. What do you think, Lady B? I think that's a main card match. But I asked the woman. Is that too stereo?
Yes, it is. But we'll go on.
All right.
Tweet
so yeah, so we'll preview Full Gear next week. I'm on the fence about whether I'm going to buy it or not at this point, but
I am not. I can already tell you, I don't think I'm going to.
I might do the bundle. I might do the bundle because you can get Full Gear and World's End for like a 20% discount or something. So
this is one I'm going to wait for, and if they tell me it's good, I'll buy it.
Osprey and Fletcher will probably be a banger.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it's not going to have any emotion, but who cares?
No, no. What people will say, well, that was a great match, and that makes it worth it, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, that honestly could be worth it, and
I can't see Mox is going to be fine. I think it's going to be very, very good.
Swerve and Lashley will be, it's not going to be a great match or anything, but the atmosphere should be fun.
Maybe
the 4-way. I mean, they're going to do a bunch of crazy spots, but there's better matches they could have. It'd be interesting. We're not gonna have any Bucks on this show, which is unique. The Bucks are almost always on the pay-per-views, so that's weird. Kenny Omega's too busy in Japan. He won't be on the show.
And the Bucks are resting for Japan, so they
apparently
pull out all the stops.
So the Bucks are going to go to Japan. They're going to wrestle Kenny Omega there. Then they're going to come back here after running from a fight like bitches, and they're going to be the babyfaces to save the company. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Okay, but that's the prevailing. That's the speculation. But if you give enough time, the fans that remember everything are going to forget that the Bucks ran away like bitches from a fight.
They need to defend the honor of Brandon Cutler.
Yeah, the geek,
and bring back Kenny somehow.
Why didn't we get a medical update on Brandon Cutler?
What is Okada doing for this pay-per-view?
He just had a kid, so I don't think he's on the show.
Okay.
Yeah, because now when I had a kid, I was working the next day. But these wrestlers take 4 months off when when their wife has a kid. God bless Tony Khan.
2 months of paternity. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the next time we see Okada is going to be in the Continental Classic.
I agree because he'll be defending his title, won't he?
Yeah, he's going to be trying to become the first ever 5-time G1/C2 winner, or the second ever. He's going to tie Masahiro Chono. Who's that? All right. Get your plugs in. I think I almost got this out of my system.
At Crep Game 13 on X, Jeff Hawkins, Blue Sky. If you want me to go there, I just basically copy my tweets in both places. This week on Shake Them Ropes, if any news happens, we'll talk about that. Vader Club, I'm somewhat excited about because I watched the match today. It's not a great match, but it's a fun match. It's Vader and Giant Coquina, aka Yokozuna.
Yeah. I saw that in AWA, right?
No, this is New Japan.
Oh, okay.
Taking on. Was
it's Giant Coquina or Coquina Maximus?
Same guy.
Yeah, I know it's the same guy, but
they call him Giant Coquina here.
Okay,
they didn't want to call him Giant Coquina. And now I've also forgotten.
Sorry.
Shinya Hashimoto and Masa Saito.
Ooh.
It is a meat match. It is not a great match, but it is a meaty match, and it was a lot of fun. So
did the Japanese crowd chant meat, or did they just sit there silently?
They just went, "Whoa!" every time somebody goes, Masa Saito.
That's Japanese for meat.
Was a fiery baby face in this match, if you can believe that.
Oh,
the guy that was a jobber to the stars in WWF, heel Mr. Fuji, partner. fiery babyface in Japan. It is something to watch.
Awesome.
And he just smacks the crap out of people. So that'll be dropping sometime later this week on either the Shake Them Ropes feed or the Voices of Wrestling super feed.
When you bring up Masahiro Chono, it reminds me of the conversation Dave and Brian had on Observer Radio. I think it was this week when they were commenting on Okada's promo last week, where he said, like he's a bigger star than Chono, and they were saying whether or not he was.
And Dave, of course, had to get granular and argue against this.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Brian's like, well, every time we saw him on TV in the NWO, he was nothing, and Okada's a big star. So, to Americans, Okada's probably the bigger star. I don't know about Japanese. I think Chono is probably a bigger star, but I don't know. Anyways, I got nothing else to plug other than you can go to fightgamemedia.com and check out my articles. I do. I'll be doing a UFC one for this week because of the pay-per-view, and Garrett and I will be doing a preview tomorrow, I believe, on the GG show. That'll be on this channel, and then it'll be in the free audio feed as well. So we'll be previewing UFC 309 with Jones and Stipe and bunch of other stuff, Chandler and Oliveira, and Bo Nickel. Some stuff I'm really looking forward to. So you can check that out. So for Jeff Hawkins, I've been Paul Fontaine, and this has been the Dynamite Show.
Let's go, Steve.